Welcome back to Hot Rod Guy Garage. This is going to be another episode on this 1965 Mustang hack job. So stick around with me through the intro, and I'll be back. So guys, there's been quite a bit of stuff going on in the background. I've been working on this Mustang, trying to get the taillights fitted, trying to figure out why they didn't fit right, along with quarter extensions and the trunk lid. Well, I flipped around, I kind of go over a few things I found with you, and then I'll be back. So what I need to do is strip the paint off this car, but I've not got that far yet. I've been working on getting the gaps good on this trunk lid, which this trunk lid is beat to snot, full of Bondo. There's dents all in it. I don't know, you can kind of see the lighter and darker spots all the way up through here, and it is full of Bondo. Not only that, it was bent, twisted, and not quite right. So I've got the side gaps where I'm pretty happy with them at this stage. Had to kind of straighten this one up here at the quarter extension. Got the tail lights where I'm happy with how they sit. This one's a little bit tighter over here, and there's still some more work to do on this quarter panel, the trunk lid gap. It wants to run kind of out in a curve about the middle of it there. So I've got the quarter extensions where they sit pretty good here. This one's not good at all here, and it's going to take some welding in this area right here to get it straightened out. And I've been welding on this gap with the quarter panel, split it, and you can see I've split the quarter there and kind of worked it a little bit too, trying to get that little archway out right there. So today I need to get these taillights out of the car, get the trunk lock out of it, the cord extensions back off, and as you can see, we got Daisy over there and the side over there. Making sure that I'm actually doing something today. So I've got to get paint off this thing. Now I've ordered some epoxy primer, and it's on the way. So basically I've just been trying to get everything to fit. Anytime you do a car like this, you need to check this stuff along the way. And when the point where I was at, I need to make sure taillights fit, the trunk lid fit, and the gaps were pretty good because we're almost ready to start the bodywork portion. So if there's any more metal work that needs to be done, I need to do it now. So I'm pretty happy with how taillights fit. They'll be acceptable for this car. The trunk lid's pretty acceptable as how it fits, but it is going to require an extensive amount of body work. And it's really junk. I would prefer to put another trunk lid on this car, but I'm scared we're going to get a Taiwan one that don't fit good. So better work with good thick factory metal. So let me get the taillights pulled out of this, quarter extensions, and we'll see where we go from there. So now that stuff's off, we can start getting this red paint off. So it's gonna be messy. Well, you can see where I marked Bondo at. There's Bondo. It started down here, all up in this area right here, and there was some all up in here. And as you can see, covered in red paint. This stuff's horrible, guys. It smells like crayons when you grind it off here. On a side note, this little Bauer bracelet wheel does a pretty good job without putting no heat in the metal. Looks like it leaves about 80 grit finish in it, which will be fine for our sealer. But gotta get all this red off. So halfway done with the quarter panel, except for the Bondo blob here, which is going to take a little while. Well, get all the paint off the driver's side quarter panel. I'll show you a few things on that here in a moment. But fun things that happen around the shop, the air compressor quit working. So I'm covered in red paint. I'm sure you can probably see it. Floor's covered in red paint. Car's covered in red paint. And I have no way to blow it off. So let me flip it around. I'll show you this quarter. I gotta go fix the compressor, and then I'll be back. Well, I quickly realized why I had all the Bondo in it. Every one of those little dark spots is pretty much a dent. It had another little slab in here. I don't know if you can see it. There's a dent there. Quarter didn't look so bad from the back side, but don't look so good from the front side. So it's gonna be fun. After I fix our compressor here, I'm going to drill out these rocker panel clips and go ahead and get the paint off that and see what's hiding in there before I move on to the trunk lid and all that other fun stuff. So, like I figured, the surprises aren't going to end yet. So, typical. Really wish you'd listened and we'd use this as a donor car for another shell. But it is what it is. So, let me fix this compressor, guys, and I'll be back. Well, compressor's fixed for now, so got my drill and my drill bit. Let's get these rocker panel clips off here. Well, still the Bondo in that one. You see that rivet's still there. They used aluminum rivets in a steel panel, which is a no-no. Look at all the Bondo in this rocker panel right here. Misdrilled hole right there. Now I'm not going to take the clip off that fender because I'm not doing those fenders and they're junk. Fun fact, aluminum rivets in a steel panel will cause galvanic corrosion and will accelerate the rust process in your steel. Not a good idea, guys. Also, you put these on, run your tape line, make sure it's straight. And you won't destroy the rocker panel moldings like they did when they put them on this car. So, I guess, let me strip paint off this rocker panel, see how much Bondo and what's under it. Look forward to that because there is a ton of Bondo in the front of that rocker. Alright, I buzzed paint off. Paint on the rocker was mega thin, almost like spray paint, so I left the Bondo in it here, just where everybody could see kind of what I was dealing with. The bottom of that door looks pretty bad too, looking up at it from the bottom. So, I'm hoping these are just dents, not rust holes, especially that up there. This is about a 1/4 inch thick. That's about a 1/2 inch thick up there, and that's about an 1/8 inch thick. So let me get that ground the rest of the way out and let's see what we got. Well, I got all the Bondo out of the rocker panel. This back here in the back was here for no reason. There was a little small dent right there in the middle that can be easily pulled out. Up here at the front, once again, there's a little small dent right here that can be easily pulled out. But I went ahead and ground the bottom of this door off. Anybody see the problem there? This is not how you put a patch panel in. There's a big old gap up here full of Bondo. Rust hole here filled full of Bondo. Rust hole here filled full of Bondo. This was a 1/4 inch thick, guys, right here. I guess that's why they had so much slabbed in this rocker panel, was to bring it out with the edge of the door. But that's piss poor. Went ahead and ground back to the back of the door, and it's good and solid. So, got some holes to weld up in the rocker panel. A little bit of paint still to take off right there, but a lot better than what I thought it was going to be. When I seen the bottom of that door was super thick, I knew I needed to grind in there and see what was under it. Even though doing the doors at this point wasn't part of our agreement, it needed to be addressed. So, surprises. Good thing is there was no big giant rust holes in the rocker panels and no big giant rust holes in the door, but the patch panel's pretty bad and could be done a little better. Use a lot less Bondo, which I don't think it needed as much what was in it. So, if you ever done paint and body work on this car before, shame on you, because good God, it's something to go back into. So, that being said, guys, I've seen enough on this side that's going to take a little bit more time. Because I do need to weld those holes up. I do need to pull out the stud welder, knock these dents out of this rocker panel. See if I can't spot weld these holes in the bottom of this door up a little bit, and maybe use a dent puller to kind of pull it out where the patch panel is like underlapped. And maybe I can get that worked back out a little bit. But still got a lot of paint to take off. I'm sure a lot more surprises to find, so it's going to be fun. Alright, instead of stopping, I decided to dig a little bit more deeper, which I probably shouldn't have. See the roof? Let me flip it around. Now, judging by how thin the metal was down in here, I assume this car had a vinyl top on it. And I think I might be, on to something here. See all this scale? Yep, guys, they put Bondo straight over the scale. You see it right there. There's Bondo, self-etching primer, and then the regular primer and the paint. Kind of in that order, Bondo, self-etching primer, the gray filler primer, and then paint. This roof is very, very, very. See if I can get this thing to focus. Yeah, you can see the pits now. Yep, that wasn't orange peel in the paint. Those are pits. I'm sure the owner's going to be absolutely thrilled about this one. Because really the only way to do this right would have been to put a roof skin on it. And at that point, it'd been better off with a fastback. And yes, I know, I can chemically treat it and I could blast it. I could do a bunch of things. And more than likely we'll end up chemically treating it because it's about the only option he's got at this point. Too far deep. The sad thing is I need to get the rest of this off this roof and make sure there's no holes full of Bondo. There's plenty of pits full of it. The trunk, like I said, is not no better. It's got some pits in it that weren't cleaned before they were primered over. But if you're going to use self-etching primer, guys, spray it over the bare metal. Spray it over that rust. It would have done a lot better than spraying it over top of your filler. Fun fact, that's what it's kind of made for, is for bare metal. Not spraying over filler. So, I've got a bunch more paint to take off this car. And I'll pop back in here if I see more surprises. And alright, at this point I got half the roof done. Except for a small section up here by the window trim that's about a 1/2 inch wide. I'm going to have to take my windshield trim tool and get the windshield trim off of it because it's got to come off. No big surprises. So we at least have a 50% chance to not find no big holes in the roof full of Bondo. So I like those odds considering the rest of the car. 50% is better than 90% chance, right? But boy, is there some rust up here. Some real deep pits, as you can see. So much so that I'd be scared to try to grind any more off. But seems pretty good up here in the drip rail. That seam sealer, the red that's still in there, The factory lead's still in it up here. There's a big blob of Bondo in this corner. But we got a pretty good chance that the rest of it's not full of holes, because this isn't. So I think at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and take the mirrors and the door handles and door locks, the windshield trim, all that stuff off there. And yeah, don't really have much choice. This red paint has to come off. It is mega soft stuff, and I've told y'all that before, but I don't think I've ever really shown, other than putting a little heat on it and scraping on it a little bit, how easy it does come up. So let me grab my razor blade and I'll show you. So, you know, this stuff, guys, is some of the most horrible stuff I've ever seen in my life. It's soft, it's gummy, it tastes like crayons when you grind it off. It's bad stuff. This can't stay on there. A lot of people may be wondering why this didn't scuff it and seal it. That right there is why, guys, because this stuff is not in here for the long haul. And if I do this, I'm going to do it to right as I can and to the best of my ability. And this actually may be easier than just using that grinder. Look at all them pits. That's with a darn broken razor blade, guys. And I may just scrape the rest of this off because it's going a lot faster than using the grinder. And then just kind of hit it with the little grinder when I get it all scraped off. Well, got most of the paint off over here. Still some primer to take off, but it's translucent. I don't know if you can see that, but I don't see any big slabs of Bondo over here yet, so that's a good sign. There's a little bit right here, and you can see it through the primer. But on a side note, got some confetti, because this stuff just peels right off. So I'm gonna try this method, and with the little grinding wheel, paint stripper, and see what that gets us. But at least these big chunks will be a lot easier to sweep up than all the dust. But let me get back to it. I just want to pop in and let you know that I've not found anything detrimental on the driver's side yet. So guys, I'm plugging along. I got all the paint off that side of the roof. I still got to run a little grinder wheel off it, knock the primer residue off. I'm here on the trunk, so the roof paint was actually stuck a little bit better than what was on the trunk. Got more confetti. So we're having a paint stripping party here. So guys, check this out. This won't take long at all. Then just run over it with my little paint stripping wheel, and then we can see what's under all this mess. Well, that's about the third size pile of paint I've swept up. So, like I said, all the paint's off the trunk. I started on this quarter. There's quite a bit of Bondo in here, so this paint's kind of hard to get off. There's quite a bit of Bondo in this A pillar right here. Well, the B pillar right here. I know it's kind of hard to see. When I start grinding the primer off of it tomorrow, all that stuff will come evident. Just as pitted, just as bad as that over there. So I still got this section of paint to take off on the quarter panel. I got to take that trim piece off, that section of paint off there. Go get these door handles and locks out and mirrors off of it. And I'll get the paint off both these doors. Got to take the rocker trim clips off the driver's side, get that stripped. And once I get all this paint off, I will epoxy seal this, which it's all bare metal. And then we can go in there and do our body work. So, I don't know. That being said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. So, I've got most of what I need to strip stripped. I still got a lot of stuff to take paint off of. And a whole ton more work to do. So, if you don't care, like this video, comment down below if there's any input that you have to have. What do you think about all the rust on this top they spray primer over? Let me know. And if you're a new subscriber, thank you for subscribing. If you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button because it helps the channel grow. Helps keep me motivated on these projects like this card. So, until next time, guys, hopefully it won't be as long to our next video on this 65 Mustang hack job. But I'll see you at the next video. Thanks for watching.